What is going on, guys? My name is AK, back in with another YouTube video, and in today's video we'll be looking at the spawns on Garrison Hardpoint. So I've already made this for Moscow and Raid, and I'll be doing the other maps in the next week or so. So check the link in the description. It'll be a playlist for all of my competitive map guides. We've got bomb spots, we've got sniping lines of sight, everything that you're going to want to be a better competitive Call of Duty player. So if you want to do that, check that link in the description. Also, one quick disclaimer, I point out the main spawns for each of the hardpoints. I'm sure there are other spawns where people can spawn, but this is just from watching a few games back in theatre, so they're the most common ones and the ones that are probably most important to know about. But with that said and done, let's jump straight into it. So we're starting P1, so if you're on the blue side, the main spawns that you get here are actually on the back generator and just more generally towards the back of the spawn. That's where most of the spawns happen. If the hill's sort of heavily contested, or if the other team is in control. If you're in control of the hill, you also do actually end up getting some spawns sort of in the back loading area just towards the back of P4. So they're your main spawn points on that side. And looking to the red side, the main spawn points are actually sort of towards the side of this tank, out at the back of the lights room, just sort of in this back spawn. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's a very common spawn on this map. And then towards the end of the map, or sort of towards the end of the hill, sorry, as you're rotating to P2, you actually get quite a few spawns in the back here behind the shipping container. But they're pretty much the main spawns for P1. Moving on to P2, if the other team is in control of the hill, so they have the close spawns or they're just in control of the hill, your main spawns are actually in this back loading area here, similar to P1, as well as on P3, and just more generally a bit towards the back of this generator bit here as well. This is why P2 is such a money hill, because you're spawning very far out, and they're quite easy lines of sight to hold for the people that are in control of P2, so that's why P2 is so important. As for if you're in defense or if you're holding P2, the main spawns you get are actually sort of towards the back of the map, the little rail bit with the train, quite far into the back spawn, and then also sort of on this side of the back spawn as well. But then right towards sort of the end, as the rotation to P3 starts to happen, if you're in control and there's no enemies sort of trying to contest, you would also get quite a few spawns in this back area just next to the hill. Moving on to P3, from all of the theatre games that I watched, if you're in control of the hill, the only real place that you spawn is actually in the back spawn here. That is very common. I think, yeah, that was pretty much every spawn that there was here, and only you start to spawn out actually when the enemies start to take control of the hill. So pretty much every spawn while you're in control of P3 is in the back there. Now, if you're trying to break P3, you get a lot of spawns actually in the back here, similar to the spawns for P1. Very common place to spawn. It's actually really annoying because of how far it is away from the hill. But you also get some spawns just towards the back of P5 here as well. And then also some less common, but they still do happen, is actually in P2. As you start to break the hill and sort of gain control, but aren't fully in control of the hill yet, there are also some close spawns actually in the back vans, in the little garage bit there as well. But that's pretty much it for P3. Moving on to P4, your majority spawns are actually sort of in the close bit of P2 and also in the back bit, again, by the shipping container. Towards the end of the hill, the spawns do sometimes flip, actually, on the rotation to P5. That's quite an easy one to flip, and so you do sometimes also, towards the end, get spawns out, the back of garage, and also in the back spawn, just on this side of the map too. Now, for the team that's trying to attack P4, the majority of your spawns are sort of by the back generators. You've also got some spawns in the back here, as well as also towards the back of garage too. Now, as I said a bit before, these spawns are variable. There's lots of spawn points, but these are the general ideas as to where they'll be spawning. Last but not least, we move on to P5. So if, again, this one's a bit like P1, where who's in control of the hill doesn't really sort of dictate where you spawn. If you are on this side of the map, this is the sort of, or if more, the enemies are on this side of the map, you'll be spawning towards this side. The majority of your spawns are actually by the back plat here, just by the grey plat, just close off P1. P3 as well, the back generator here if they're pushed up quite far, but this is more towards the rotate to P1 that you actually start to spawn that far back. There are also spawns on P4 as well as in back loading, so there's actually quite a lot of places that they can spawn for this. Also, I forgot to mention they can spawn just in the lower mid if they really push far back, but that isn't very often just because of how infrequently you actually manage to push them right back into their spawn. Now, on the other side of things, most of the spawns are in the far sort of deep back spawn by the rails where the train is, but they're also on the other side, up sort of the top side of spawn as well. And also throughout the hill, there are quite a few spawns just generally by the shipping container bit at the far back of P2 around Brickside. So that's pretty much it for the spawns on Garrison. As I said, there are going to be other spawn points that I just haven't either seen in the theatre game modes or I've only seen once or twice and didn't really think they were worth mentioning just because they're not the main spawn points for the hills. But hopefully this gives you a great general idea of where people are going to be spawning and help you just sort of play Garrison a little bit smarter, know where you need to pre-aim, and yeah, I mean, very helpful. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to drop a like. Subscribe if you're new for all of my competitive Call of Duty gameplays and sort of tips and tricks videos like this. If you did like this, again, check the link in the description. There'll be my playlist with everything that hopefully will be very helpful. And thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.